Namaste, Mitron. Welcome back to Movie Community College. Just wanted to see if you were going to interrupt me, but you didn't.
I don't ever interrupt you.
Whatever.
Everybody's been asking where you've been.
I'm in one video every day.
Where you been, Tish?
You've been
sleeping.
I've never ever been in every video. So if you're looking for me in every video, that's never going to happen. But if you look for me once a day, you'll find me. You just have to search through the channel.
We have a video here on your favorite member of the House of Representatives.
She is not my favorite.
And apparently she had some anti-India rhetoric.
Oh, yes, she did. She's vile.
I'm going to ask you to give me a 5-second pause when the video starts, so it helps me in my editing, okay?
All right.
You ready?
Will do, yes.
Now, this is not new. The U.S. is known to use different local issues as bargaining chips to interfere in the internal affairs of other countries. Trade imbalance and intellectual property rights for China, Crimea and nuclear weapons for Russia, and now it seems it's human rights in Kashmir and Assam for India. While the first two strategies were employed by the government itself, the attempt to put pressure on India comes from Representative Ilhan Omar, one of the members of the so-called Squad. Speaking at the Congressional hearing on human rights in South Asia, Omar projected the Indian government in bad light. Her criticism was rebutted by Assistant Secretary of State Alice Wells. First, take a look at this exchange.
Ambassador Wells, as you know, last month I led a letter to Ambassador Juster and Jones with you CC'd on it on the situation of Kashmir. Our partnership with India is strategic, but it's also based on our shared values of democracy, religious pluralism, and the respect of human rights. Under Modi and the BJP government, all of these mutual values have been threatened. And I think we have to understand the situation in Kashmir as part of an overall Hindu nationalism project of the BJP. So my first question to you is about the right of self-determination. Is the United States committed to emphasizing the centrality of Kashmir voices in determining the future of the Jammu and Kashmiri people?
I would disagree with the characterization that we don't have a values-based relationship with the government of Prime Minister Modi. And I would just underscore that Prime Minister Modi came in a consecutive term. He achieved a majority vote in a very diverse
we can agree to disagree on that. I just would like to understand if we are going to centralize the voices of the Kashmiri and
But just to provide context, I mean, the actions he took were approved in Parliament, including by members of the opposition. The Supreme Court is reviewing that decision. The High Court is reviewing habeas corpus petitions. The institutions of India's democracy are working. We absolutely believe that Kashmiri's voice needs to be heard, that in any restoration, when there is restoration of an assembly, when there are state assembly elections, that's the way for Kashmiris to be able to register their views, also in peaceful assembly. And so I think the concern over the restrictions on movement and what we've seen over the last 78 days is that ability to protest peacefully has been difficult for Kashmiris to exercise.
Yeah. I mean, and the part of the reason I asked and the part of the reason I emphasized the context of the larger PGP project is because I think in both cases, the impunity we have seen for crimes against Muslims under the PJP was warming for such worse things to come. In Assam, almost 2 million people are being asked to affirmably approve their citizenship. As my colleague and the chairman said, there have been official statements to the effect that no Buddhist, Christian, Sikh, or Jain refugees need to worry about their status. And so this is a clear anti-Muslim program. And I'm sure you've seen the same reports that the Indian government is starting to build camps in Assam, presumably to hold those who are unable to prove their citizenship. This is how the Rohingya genocide started. At one point,
get out of here, Omar. Get out of here.
Are we waiting for the Muslims in Assam to be put in those camps?
The the certification of citizenship in Assam dates to a 2013 Supreme Court ruling that ordered the government to do so, to address questions of illegal immigration. The process, which continues to unfold and continues to be challenged in the court, it now has 1.9 million people who have not been certified. And that includes both Muslims and Hindus. There are 300 appeal panels that are being set up for those individuals to appeal this determination. And as my colleague stated, we're concerned that many of these individuals who may not have the wealth or the education to successfully be able to document their citizenship are vulnerable. We will continue to watch this very closely, but I would stress that the appeal process is still open. The judicial process is still working in India. And as a democracy, we respect other democracies' abilities to self-police and self-regulate. And so this process is underway. Our voices have been heard. Your voice is going to be heard. Obviously, there's international attention focused on this national citizenship registration.
Processes of legalities can take place under the justification of security and the such. The fact that there are public statements of having only Muslims prove their citizenship should be extremely alarming. And an excuse that we don't please other democracies is not one that should be acceptable to this committee or acceptable to the American people. We have to raise our voice of concern. We do that in many situations. There should not be an exception in this situation. Thank you, and I yield back.
So who is Ilhan Omar, and why is she taking this tone? She is one of the so-called progressive freshman congresswomen of color, and while she's entitled to raise any issue, her comments must be seen in context. She's been accusing the Indian government of violent Hindu nationalism even before the Kashmir decision. She's known for such vitriolic comments, not only on India, but about several other countries. Earlier this year, by the way, her own Democratic colleagues forced Ilhan Omar to apologize for comments that were anti-Semitic against the Jews. And now she wants America to review bilateral ties with India. It's a good opportunity to remind all champions of human rights that interference in another country's democratic processes is an infringement. It betrays an imperialist mindset, and she's not talking about any other country. She's targeting the world's most diverse and the largest democracy.
India is the most diverse.
Her comment should also be viewed with an American political perspective. Remember, this is an election year in the US. Every statement is made with a vote bank in mind. Now, we're not in the business of slander and accusations, but to use Kashmir to whip up anti-India frenzy is abominable. Social media was flooded with comments about what she said. Leave alone Kashmir.
She spoke to that journalist as well.
Like NRC, which is overseen by the judiciary of India, to the Rohingya crisis, exposes the lack of understanding and a serious anti-India bias. As for the specific point she made, the U.S. Assistant Secretary of State has answered them sufficiently, we believe. It's best to leave it there.
Okay, where to start? Well, we'll start with the obvious. How many times did she say PJB instead of BJP? So first off, you should get that right. I thought you were going to show the clip where she was speaking to the Indian journalist, which was just as bad as this clip. I mean, she's so uninformed. She's so rude. She drips with sarcasm. She can barely restrain her hatred for real freedom while she's sitting there talking about how we need to, watch over human rights and our shared values. Shared values? We don't share values with her. She's an American because she lives here, because we granted her citizenship. We rescued her from a horrific situation. And the thanks that she's given us to those of us who are Americans and care about our country is she's vile. She's filled with vitriol. I can't even believe that she's been allowed to sit on a committee like this and ask questions like that. She's intellectually dishonest, and I hope and pray that she will not be reelected. It's shameful what she said.
She is in scandal right now.
Yes. Not only because
she's had numerous affairs with people who work for her, and she's using campaign money to kind of
right
to take care of this, and it's coming to light.
Right, she married her brother.
She married her brother
so that she could claim that she could get citizenship here. Then she was married to somebody else while she was married to him. Then she's divorced from the brother. Now she's divorcing the current husband because she's living with a man who's not her husband because he's married to somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is what we would call a hot mess. She is a basket full of crazy, I would say, and is completely ignorant on how things work. This is a process that's going on in India.
Well, listen.
The reason that they're doing this in Assam is because they're having such a problem with illegal immigration.
Right.
Like, I go to work and I come back and there's a family in my house that's from another country and they won't leave.
If you live in Assam.
Yes.
Right.
And now you got to go like,
but listen,
this is my house.
You can't expect her to understand the goings-on in other countries when she doesn't understand how things work in America. She thinks illegal immigration in America is acceptable, so she wants it to be acceptable everywhere. And I notice that there's always only one religious group that she seems to watch out for. And it's interesting because while she claims she's watching out for that one religious group,
excuse me,
the group that she's a part of, she's not even adhering to their beliefs. Pretty sure it's not acceptable within her own religious tradition to be living with a man who's married to somebody else. Pretty sure that's not acceptable either.
Yeah, and I saw that dude. He looks like an infidel.
Yeah, he's a white guy. Shocker. Anyhow.
She's crazy.
India.
Yeah, we
don't listen to her.
We don't like her.
America doesn't listen to her.
Like her.
You shouldn't listen to her either. Don't let her get under your skin. All right.
Let's go for something lighter. In this
See you, friends.
Video.
Bye.
I want to say, all the people, please subscribe Movie Community College. God bless you, brothers. Keep it up. You're making really great video. And please subscribe my CWV YouTube channel too. God bless you. Thanks for supporting me. I love you. Your name really very Inuit Professor.
So in a desperate attempt to attack our movement, Nancy and Chuck, two beauties, have given control of the Democrat Party entirely over to the radical left, including Minnesota's own Representative Ilhan Omar. You know, I know you people. I know you people. I know the people of Minnesota. And I want to tell you, and I also at the same time, it's both a question and a statement. How the hell did that ever happen? How did it happen? How did it happen? Congresswoman Omar is an America-hating socialist. She minimized the September 11th attack on our homeland, where far more than 3,000 people died, saying some people did something. Big deal. Some people did something. She pleaded for compassion for ISIS recruits right here in Minnesota. Omar laughed that Americans speak of Al-Qaeda. You remember that tape? Speak of Al-Qaeda. But when we say something about the United States, you just don't say America with any intensity. Remember that? Representative Omar has a history of launching virulent anti-Semitic screeds, whether you like it or not. She said the U.S. support for Israel is all about the Benjamins. She said that pro-Israel lawmakers have an allegiance to a foreign country. Omar wrote that Israel has hypnotized the world. May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States. How do you have such a person?